The words we use are extremely powerful. They shape the perception of our life, and perception equals creation. How you perceive reality, people, yourself, money, is how you interact with reality. But what we don't often notice is the importance of the words we use to shape our perception. You see, it's a little bit like having a programmer writing and coding a certain program. Every word you use is like a line in the code. And so when you speak or think certain things carelessly or limited or negatively or in a way that doesn't represent exactly what you want, without you realizing, you're simply writing another line of code into your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind, we could say, is simply like a database of all the coding you've been having through your thoughts, expressions, and emotions and actions you've had from the moment you're born, right? And so you're the sum total of that data bank. So if I want to speak my desire into reality, I'm going to need to become very consciously aware of the power of my words. And so I'm going to need to become very careful about how do I speak, what do I say, how do I say it? Because language is something very interesting. Not every word means the same to everybody. We all have words that triggers us, that creates contraction, right? For some people, the word money is very loaded. For some people, it feels very expensive, it feels very light. It's the same with the word love or peace or so many other words. So even if you go to different part of the world, right, and everybody speaks English in the same country, people will have the different ways of expression, the different expression, the different saying, the different things, right? Different community have different ways of expressing themselves. So you have to understand yourself first, how you think, how you speak, the words, the impact of certain words and how they limit you. And I can give you so many experiences of my personal life. I used to have a lot of limited thoughts and words, specifically around money. I can't afford it, it's too expensive, I don't have the money. So when you speak those words into the program, you're adding lines. So money, can't afford it, too expensive, I don't have the money. And so how do you think this manifests into your reality, especially if it's repetitive, like, you know, like a disc playing again and again and again on repeat? So those things adds up. Now, what happens if you start speaking, you know, I always have the money, I'm abundant, there's always a way for me to get what I want? What will start to happen if you start to speak abundantly about money, about yourself, about your ability to generate money, and you do that repeatedly? You will start imprinting a different code into your subconscious mind. And this is what is so important about speaking your desire into reality. The biggest thing that is the hardest, like, is the distance there is between where you are and where you want to be. And I remember, like, you know, when I wanted to make more money or reach a certain amount, I felt like, man, I'm here right now. I can't even fathom what it would feel like, or let alone to be in a situation of having like 2, 3, 4 times more income. Like, even when I was speaking about it or thinking about it or try to visualize it, there was so much distance, meaning it is so hard for us to even speak the word, to really convince ourselves, to make it feel normal. It feels like a different level. But the things that you have and that you're experiencing right now feels normal, feels common, feels like very familiar. There's no distance because you've spoken, you've thought about this, you use certain words to describe certain situation over and over and over again. So it's all very familiar. So my point is what? To speak your desire into reality is to first become familiar with that reality. So when you speak it, you write a certain code into the program, and you do it again and again and again. At a certain point, at first it might feel like weird, it might feel like you don't believe it, it might feel like I don't know what I'm saying these things, but they don't mean anything because my reality is so different. But if you keep at it, you start to become very familiar with the perception of having that reality, of having things being a certain way, of you being a certain way, of feeling a certain way. I'm gonna give you an example. When I was young, like quite young, right, I used to struggle with certain pronunciation of certain word, especially the word with s and sh, right? And so my parents, you know, brought me to this lady that just helps kids, you know, to articulate those words, you know, better, kind of thing. But she also noticed that I was a bit shy, reserved, timid, like I didn't really speak my mind, and there was like a confidence issue as well. And so she gave me something called affirmation. I didn't know what it was. I was like freaking very young, right? 6 or before, kind of thing. And she gave me 3 affirmation. And if I translate those from French, it would be like, I dare express myself, I dare speak my truth, I dare go to the point, right? Something around that is. And I had to put it on the fridge, and she told me every day you have to repeat that over and over again, right? And so I did that. And so when my parents tell me this story, they record a massive difference before and after me doing the session, me reading these things, to the point where I became too blunt, too direct, and I was actually getting into a situation that they didn't really like. And so that created different kind of problems. But the reason I'm telling you this story is because I started telling myself, my subconscious mind, a new program, a new code. I started speaking different things into existence. Now, I was so young, I had no idea, I was just doing what I was told kind of thing, but you see the impact. And when I was overcoming much later in life, you know, my insecurity about me being too tall, because this is the thing, you can be tall, or are you too tall? And so I saw this as being a negative, emotionally loaded word. So affected my state, my emotion, my security, so many things. So you see, when you think about I'm too tall, or you know, when people tell you these type of things and you respond with embarrassment, you add programs, lines of code into the program, into the subconscious mind, which then just execute. So I had to learn to think very differently, learn to speak differently about my body, about how I feel about my body. I had to teach my mind how to think and feel about my body. And so in your life right now, no matter what you want to bring into your reality, you're going to need to train your mind to speak and think and feel that reality as being normal. And so this is not just clack your fingers, okay? If you have a goal that is just like kind of near and it's kind of like, okay, like there's not so much of a gap in terms of you believing you can have it. Because the moment you start to have motion and you start to prime yourself to believe you have this, and it turns into faith, then faith becomes a powerful force. But I digress, okay? The thing here is all about training, imprinting more code that moves you into the direction that you want to have, that shapes the perception of reality. When you start telling yourself things like, okay, the world always supports me, my world always takes care of me, those words are powerful because they presuppose, they create a mental picture in your mind, and you say it again and again and again. It goes into the code, and the program executes. But if you tell yourself life is tough, nothing's going my way, it's always hard, people always take advantage of me, and you ruminate on past memories and so on, and you just bring and you add more of that old code, your subconscious mind ends up executing as well, and your reality follow. So to speak your desire into reality is to first train your mind about that reality in order to close the gap. If you want $10,000 a month or whatever it may be, or that job or that relationship, you gotta train yourself to feel like that's normal. That's my standards. That's who I am now. If you wanna lose weight, if you wanna be more athletic, if you wanna feel more pretty, more handsome, more in confidence in your body or whatever, you gotta train yourself to think that way about yourself. That's how you speak words into reality. Let me know what you think down in the comment, guys. As always, thank you for watching this video. Be well.